In this video, we're going to talk about what it's like taking pictures, studio pictures with Nikon Zf and getting pictures like this. Hey, what's up guys, this is Vitaly. Welcome back to my studio. You know, I actually had this studio for probably over 6 years by now, and I've shot a lot of portraits, a lot of friends and family, and a lot of paid shoots in my photography studio here. And I want to talk to you today about my experience, what it's like using Nikon Zf for studio portraiture. And let me know in the comments below, what camera do you use for maybe your studio portraiture, and your favorite lens, your favorite camera, your favorite lights that we're going to talk about in a minute. Okay, so let's start with the camera itself. Obviously, Nikon Zf. I've had this camera for probably over a year now. I photographed weddings, I photographed travel, I've done travel photography, I've done a lot of portraits in general, but I haven't really used Nikon Zf for studio work because I use either Nikon Z6 or maybe I use Nikon Z9, which by the way is recording me right now. So with me today here is the Nikkor 24-70 f2.8 lens. Certainly you don't have to use that fast of a prime lens for studio portraiture because very often when you're photographing people, groups of people, you're gonna be stopping down. In my case, probably most of my portraits were captured at about f5.6, maybe even f6.3. But nonetheless, that's the setup that I had. And I've been triggering my lights with the Godox X2T. And that is a beautiful combination because what I do is, let me put my camera aside here for a second. And what I've used is, this is my fill light that basically what actually triggers my key light. And I know, before you put something in the comments below, why am I using my fill light to actually trigger my key light? Here's the reason. So this is a AD200 Godox, okay? And what is in my fill light, which is up here, and this is a 40-inch Octabox. This is my 30-inch Octabox. This is Alien B800. And I've had Alien B800s probably for, I don't know, close to 10 years at this point. I love them. They've been always very reliable. They provide enough power. I usually have two of those. In this case, I don't. I only have one. But the problem is the Godox, the X2T trigger does not actually trigger this light because previously I had to use pocket wizards. Pocket wizards work very well for me, not this case. So my X2, okay, so here's my camera that has X2T trigger, triggers my AD200, which in return triggers my light, which actually set as a slave, and this way I primarily have a wireless studio. There's no cables hanging off of this one, and I love this setup. That's pretty much the kind of the core and the basics of my studio here that I photograph. I also used a tripod. Some of my shots were on the tripod, other shots were not on the tripod. I kind of handheld. Now, there's only one gripe that I have with Nikon Zf, and let me know if you experience that. You know how a lot of people talk about that fully articulated screen is not best for photography, and yes, I can agree, specifically in this case. When I'm photographing people for studio work, when I'm standing with the camera like this, I like to be able to look at my client straight down the center. There's something a little bit off when you're photographing and you're looking a little bit off center. So imagine you're my client, this is my camera. I like to be able to go up and down, look at my camera, look at the viewfinder, look at my subject. But a lot of times I was doing this. I was looking off to the side at my client, off to the side at my client. It is perfectly fine if you are doing videography. And if you are behind the camera and you're taking videos, I think that's okay, that's acceptable. But that's one thing that I just didn't like. I wish Nikon for future cameras will switch to something that we have now with the Sony A9 II, where you have a fully articulated screen like this, but you can also flip your camera basically just to see it in the center like that, but time will tell. So that's the only one gripe that I have about Nikon ZF. Other than that, this is a 24 megapixel sensor, and the same sensor that you would find in Nikon Z6 II. Amazing autofocus. For be able to capture people's faces, you know, I don't think I had one shot that was not in focus. The only reason some of my shots were not in focus is because initially when I started taking portraits, I was taking them a little bit of a shallow depth of field. When you are taking portraits, you want to step down to f5.6, at f6.3, even to f8. I would love to know from you guys, what f-stop do you use when you're taking portraits? This is what I had here. And this little contraption that you see here, this is actually for my phone up here. Some of the behind the scenes shots that you see right now, it's because my phone was attached in the back, and actually nice little contraption by small rig that you can attach to basically X2T. Okay, so that's when it comes to cameras. So as I mentioned, this is my key light, Alien B 800. This is my fill light, AD 200. They work perfectly. My key light was set to maybe a quarter of a power. My fill light was set to about maybe 1/64th of a power. So there was plenty of light to go around here. And now let's talk about my backdrop. So this is a seamless paper backdrop. It's about 107 inches length by 36 feet. So after a while, this is a paper, obviously. Once you unroll it, depending how much you use it, sometimes you might want to unroll it all the way, and people end up standing on it. People will make it dirty, they will rip, it's going to get wet, so you can simply take a scissors and cut off the pieces that are damaged. Now, in my case, I've had this backdrop for probably good 7-8 years at this point, and it worked perfectly for me. Worked literally seamlessly for me. And this backdrop is made by, I'm gonna put right up here who it's made by. It's been a while, guys, since I purchased it. So, but again, there's a lot of paper backdrops out there. I'm sure most of them will work just fine. I don't like using vinyl because vinyl tend to be very reflective. Paper like this usually tend to absorb a lot of light, especially like a black paper. And it looks very classy. As you can see in a lot of these images, it looks very, very classy when it comes to portraits. Now, one of the things that I want to share with you, maybe a small tip when it comes to taking portraits in studio, is actually having a step ladder. And I'm going to put this one down before I drop it. This is my actually home step ladder that I use for when it comes to painting walls. As you can see, it's gotten pretty dirty over the years. Nonetheless, this is a great tool for studio portraiture. What you can do actually, you can purchase one of these spandex cloth tables on Amazon, probably 10, 12 bucks maybe. And it doesn't very wrinkle very well or too much. And you can simply take it and cover it nicely. So when I'm taking portraits of a family in front of the black backdrop, it kind of blends in very well. And yet I'm able to situate families depending on how tall someone is and have them, you know, maybe tall people can sit on a chair up here, and then people of a medium height can be standing off to the side. But this is a great solution for any studio. I know some people use Apple boxes, absolutely perfect. Great for a lot of different ways too. You can set people up. But this is a very indispensable piece of equipment for a photography studio that I highly, highly recommend. Now, something else that I used is from time to time, I would set my camera, instead of holding it and taking pictures or taking vertical pictures like this, I would set it onto my tripod. And this is a Manfrotto Befree tripod. It's great for travel photography, it's great for in-studio work. So, and that's what I've gotten for my studio and using Nikon Zf. It is one little beautiful camera. Guys, I can't tell you enough of good things. It's not only very aesthetic when it comes to all the dials that I made out of brass, but it's also very simple to use. It's user-friendly. I enjoy Nikon menu. You have menu for photography, you have a menu for video, and all the other tools, and it's not complicated. And image quality is spectacular. As you may or may not know, over the years, Nikon perfected photography when it comes to image quality. And in the past few years, they also caught up with the video aspect of cameras. And now it's an amazing video camera as well. I love being able to flip the screen this way. And if I'm somewhere out and about or I'm traveling with my family and I have a camera like this, I can frame myself because now I can see myself in the back of a screen. Guys, I would love if you could comment in the description below what camera you use for maybe your studio work, what lens do you use, do you have any recommendations how to improve studio photography? Do you see something here that maybe could have done a little bit differently? Now, one of the cool aspects of my studio as well, let me share with you guys here, is the ability to swap my backdrops from different colors. So you can see this is a black one, but I can raise my backdrop and in the back here I have my white one, but I also want to share with you this is my holiday one, and I can simply lower my holiday backdrop like this. And now you have a holiday backdrop for your studio work, and it works amazingly. This one is made out of cloth. I want to say it's made by Kate, if I remember correctly. And yeah, so that's what I use for my studio photography. Please let me know in the comments below what else would you like to see with Nikon Zf. I'm going to link a couple videos up here, one for travel photography and one for wedding photography using Nikon Zf. And I would love for you to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel because this allows me to make more content like this for viewers like you. Thank you.